Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Jim, and this is take two of our episode today. And joining me today is my co-host, Ryan. Ryan, how are things?
I'm doing great. Air is a little thinner here on the 27th floor as I was staying in take one. And we get a beautiful view over your shoulder of Lake Ontario, my house, and the planes coming and going in and out, so we can always fantasize about planning our next vacations. So
yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who don't know, we haven't sent out the official announcement as of yet, but we have moved. TVH Group has moved to a new location at the Eaton Center, which is 250 Yonge Street, 2702. We're just waiting for signage because people are kind of making their way up here and they can't really find us. So we're just waiting for the signage to make the official announcement. And then we're probably going to have some kind of open house later on in the year so people can come in, hang out, check it out. And this is like you and me now kind of working in person because we've been working together for over 3 years now.
yeah,
And we've essentially basically done everything virtual, right? Our recording, this is our first in-person podcast recording. So anyone that's out there, just, be patient with us. We're trying to figure this out still. It was easier to do it virtual, but we're just trying to figure out the technology and the sound and all that stuff. So hopefully we'll get something nice behind Ryan's back as well at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is exciting for me.
my smile is sometimes just enough.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, today we're going to be talking about, let me just see here. We're talking about back to reality, smart money moves for fall of 2025. And the reason why we're having this conversation today is, I think I shared with you in our first recording that when I first started in the industry, I would get frustrated, or I was frustrated because it was very difficult to get appointments with people.
Yeah.
And a mentor of mine had shared with me, well, that's because they're all getting ice cream and they're golfing and they're going to the cottage. So you should probably do the same thing and come back in September when everyone's back in routine and you'll be busy.
Yeah.
Sure enough, that's exactly how every single year it works out. So now we have a lot of people that have come back. I mean, summer isn't officially over, but it's unofficially over. Back to routine, kids going to school. And maybe we can kind of help them with some potential money moves to get them ready to lead them into the end of the year to Christmas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then of those, they can come visit us here on the 27th floor before doing their shopping to know what they should be spending on their Christmas this year.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, I was taking the train in today. And I came across a quote that was really important because I was meeting lots of clients throughout the summer, coaching, and still doing some of their planning, but not as often as I think most of us would have liked. But the quote was, "Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of the things which matter least." And it was really important because it really spoke to me because often we get distracted by a lot of stuff. And of course, please enjoy the ice cream, enjoy vacations, things like that. But it put top of mind the priority that people sometimes put aside for their financial wellness. And I think it's important for us to talk about it and be more, as I was telling you earlier, yesterday, I think, being more bold to say, hey, this is really important. I love doing what I do. Let's make sure that we stay on track with some of the things so we don't get things carried away, which obviously led to a great conversation about having this podcast about, getting back on track and snap back to reality. I'm sure I could bust into a song of, I think it's Eminem, but I won't.
Yeah, it is.
So.
So we're going to talk about a few things again, maybe some current events that we're going to talk about. And I'm sorry, but this just feels weird being in person. Like I'm loving it, but it's kind of like golf, right? You know how it's not supposed to feel right when you take the swing, but that's what works. That's what this is feeling like right now for me. But anyways, let's get into maybe some of the current things we need to look out for, some sooner rather than later. The first one is interest rates, right? The Bank of Canada has maintained the rate since I believe about March of this year at 2.75. With no expected change through year end. That's what we thought. But then the jobs report came out and we lost, 66,000 jobs last month.
Yeah.
And now I think the experts, 90% of the experts are predicting there's going to be a rate cut probably September the 17th, I believe is the next one.
Yeah.
And maybe another one to follow after that, right? So that'd be good news for people who are carrying revolving debt, specifically lines of credits, because credit card interest rates aren't affected usually by the Bank of Canada rate, and also for people with the variable rate mortgages, specifically the ones that are coming up for renewal, right?
Yeah.
So look out for the announcement on the 17th.
Yeah.
We're now expecting a drop. We don't know how much, quarter to half,
Yeah.
but I think that's the next thing we need to be looking out for.
Yeah, and again, having conversations with John and his team, and just having conversations with the people kind of in my area and seeing homes go up for sale.
Yeah, a lot.
And I know we had this conversation well over a year ago of the concerns of people's cash flow and being ready for their renewals, right? And for some people, I know John and their team are quite active in making sure they're not giving just a 30-day notice to people, but they're helping people get ahead of it. And I find working alongside them, having these dialogues with them and their clients of how they can prepare that. I know we've talked about perhaps having another podcast kind of about those topics, about how people can prepare for the potential interest rate lowering, but also for those that are renewing at a higher level than they ever anticipated, and how cash flow becomes an important conversation with them. So
yeah, and even with the interest rate drop, if that were to happen, for anyone who again is in a variable rate mortgage or a line of credit, with a bit of that savings, we can talk to you like, what should you do now that the payment has gone down slightly?
Yeah.
Should you just continue on with the same payment and continue on paying off the debt? If you haven't been able to save any money, is this an opportunity to maybe take some of that savings now, start building some form of short-term emergency account? So this is something we can talk about. And leading to next year, like you said, I forget I think it's over 1 million mortgages are coming up for renewal next year. So talk to John and his team. They can help you prepare for that, because you're going to get an offer from the bank.
yeah,
They're not going to give you the best offer that's available,
Yeah.
right?
they're giving themselves their best offer, not yours as the person holding the house and the mortgage, right?
Exactly. Alrighty, so let me just see here. Inflation. That's been a big talk for a while. It's kind of cooled off a little bit. Conversation as well as inflation, but core inflation has still been a little bit sticky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how the interest or how inflation is going to look, specifically because of the tariffs and the impact of the tariffs.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting as well.
It's a day-to-day comic book, watching what's going on with over the other border and things that are going on there and how it affects us, right? So, and the markets too.
Yeah. What do we have next? The economic outlook. So GDP growth is slowing. We're kind of like borderline recession is the talk right now.
Yeah.
So that's going to be scary for a lot of people, because again, it could potentially mean more job losses. Just a lot of pain for some people as well. So we already know that Mark Carney has come out saying that the next budget is going to be an austerity and investment budget, I believe it is. I think it'd be a little difficult to do both.
Yeah.
So it's funny how when Pierre Poilievre was talking about cuts, everyone was against the cuts. And now the person that's been voted in is now saying, no, there's going to be cuts, right? Because it was just the previous government spent way too much. So we're going to be dealing with some of that. Government support. So some payments have gone through as well. I know my daughter, she finally did probably her second tax return. First one as a university student. All of a sudden she was getting like check after check after check after check, right? So she was getting annoyed by all the checks. Like, I keep getting invoice after invoice after invoice, so let's swap, right? Um, and the next one, and then the final one that we'll talk about is the budget. There's supposed to be a budget that's upcoming. It'll be curious to see what that looks like. Again, austerity investment, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to some of the current event snapshots?
Weren't they supposed to release the budget back in April? But they didn't?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, when the government needs homework to get done, they can leave it. But when we have to get it done, it has to be done immediately.
Absolutely. Alrighty, so let's talk about post-summer money reset. So what's the first thing people should consider doing?
I think this is one of the big things that we do within the cash flow thing is really looking over your summer spending. It's easy. The last 8 weeks, the last 2 months is really reviewing how your credit card statements are look. Obviously, with vacations that have happened, lots of cottages being gone to, and probably a lot more eating it out than you normally do. Hopefully, most of them should have been barbecues, but yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I think we focus on, especially within the cash flow, is really having this as a great reset point for people, especially as we lead into. If you haven't been shopping yet in Costco, I would think Christmas is already here, but yeah, it helps people prepare for the next step, which I think is something we discuss too at some point. So,
yeah. Home Depot full of Halloween stuff already, and Costco, I think they're getting with the Christmas stuff. It's crazy.
They're probably working on Easter also at the same time for next year.
You're right. Which the next thing, it hurts people with emergency funds. Right? How can you help build an emergency fund when you're already thinking about planning for these next holidays? And there's a level of guilt that people feel. It's like there's an expectation of, well, we have to do all these things. It's Thanksgiving, so we have to get the big turkey dinner. There are a lot of people who just can't afford it, right? Yeah. Same with Christmas. Like Caroline, I mentioned it a few times, what we've started to do over Christmas now is we just don't get each other gifts anymore. We just put our money towards helping other families, right? Especially families that have young children. Because, come on, I mean, I know families, let's really the kids, right? But there are a lot of people struggling right now. And that's an added stress because they feel guilty that they can't get there or give their kids a decent Christmas. And we're not talking crazy stuff, like even just one toy. There are people that don't, right? Or not able to. So talking about rebuilding the emergency fund, because chances are some people have dipped into the emergency fund, maybe because they really wanted the really expensive ice cream, right? Or they're going to go rent a cottage, go away on vacation, whatever. So if you did that, don't worry about it. Just focus on trying to rebuild that up as best you can, as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
Right?
Going back to the summer spending, something that I didn't mention was reoccurring subscriptions, things that we forget about. Some people, a recommendation was to take the summer off, turning off their Netflix and things like that, right? Which was a huge benefit for a lot of clients that I worked with, because it allowed them to spend more family time together versus logged on whatever device. So, third is planning for seasonal expenses. Obviously, we've touched upon that. Back to school is here. Being creative in ways. The amount of times we have conversations, how many backpacks do our kids need? I'm pretty sure most backpacks can be reused.
Yeah.
So,
my son reused his. He's like, it's fine, right? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And I think getting started, we've talked about this on a previous podcast last year, I guess, preparing for the holiday season really is, I actually bought my first holiday gift yesterday. It was a great deal.
What'd you get me?
But yeah, I've started doing my holiday shopping because looking for the right thing for the right people is important. And I think one of the things that a lot of family members sometimes forget too is with all this planning piece is keeping those ideas now leading into the holiday season, because you never know what somebody could be giving away. It could be a great gift for a loved one. And again, consumerism is one of the hardest things when it comes to helping people keep within budget and work on building their emergency fund. So
Yeah, absolutely. Leverage government benefits. So Canada Child Benefit is September the 19th. CPP and OAS coming out the 25th. So usually it's the 25th of each month. So just remember that those are upcoming. And it's funny, going back to my daughter, needed tires this year. And again, she's a university student working full-time in the summer to help save money for education. And she had a bit of a car bill, tires, whatever else. And all this money came in from the government. I'm like, they're paying for it. I'll use that money, right? That's what it's for.
Take those corners a little easier.
It was the bumps. I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to embarrass her. But it was the bumps. Alrighty. So, what are some smart moves for September to December? We have debt strategy, right? So the rates, they've been steady at 2.75. We're expecting maybe a bit of a cut, right? But paying down the high interest credit cards, right? I think that's a big one.
Yeah, and there's different strategies, whether it's the snowball effect or tackling one at a time.
Yeah.
I think both work as long as you're paying down debt. That's the most important part. But again, through our cash flow program, it's really about looking at your overall picture and truly understanding what cash flow is. So there's a pop quiz for everybody out there. What is cash flow? What is the difference between cash flow and budgeting? So I'll leave it out there for everybody else because we're often taught from a young age. I was just talking to some teachers in the last little bit, talking about teaching budgeting within their schools and trying to change and add to their narrative when it comes to cash flow instead of just strictly budgeting.
Yeah. So cash flow is a very important one for those who are investors. Just review your portfolios. It's a funny and not funny how often you and I meet clients. We go through a risk assessment, and when things are going great, we're aggressive. We love the 10 to 12%. We can handle it. And then there's the correction or some volatility, and all of a sudden they're freaking out. Oh, we're no longer aggressive. We're very conservative, right? So maybe just to reassess where are you at in terms of your risk profile, and does it match the holdings that you have, right? So I think it's a big one. And dollar cost averaging is something that we talk about a lot. It is easier from a cash flow point of view, budgeting point of view, even from a long-term investing strategy, to just little by little, every single month, put something in, and eventually you're going to get used to it. It takes about 2 to 3 months to get used to it. And then you're going to feel really good at the end of the year when you get the statement and say, hey, I've accumulated X amount of dollars, right? So something to also look at.
Yeah, I also encourage people not to stop it, but to start it. Starting something, especially for younger people, sometimes they feel like there's a struggle, but simply putting $25 a week is a simple start, and you can increase and decrease. But when I see people who stop doing it, those are the ones that I find hardest to get back into the rhythm of putting aside a little bit of money each week or each month to build up that emergency fund or investments, whatever it is that they're trying to save for. So,
tax planning is another one. Kind of speaks to the dollar cost averaging as well. And tax planning isn't just contribute to an RSP, put money into a TFSA. There's definitely a lot more that we could do from a tax planning point of view. But if we want to simplify it, if you are someone who's investing in RSPs, just to contribute now, and again, if you're dollar cost averaging, it doesn't hurt as much in February when you maybe want to top it up, similar to your TFSAs, right? So just kind of look at making some of those contributions systemically, month over month, or if you're able to do some lump sums now. I have a lot of clients, a lot of times in December, they'll call me and they'll say, hey, I want to do my RESP contribution now. And we convert them over to a monthly one because, again, it just makes it so much easier, right? Holiday savings hack. Now, I see here, use a sinking fund approach. Do you know what that is?
I surprisingly don't know, actually.
Well, we might have to look that up. And divide your holiday budget by the number of weeks left in the year. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how that would help. I mean, for most guys, that would hurt because I think we shop like on Christmas Eve anyway.
It's true. So you only 1 week.
So that won't really help us. But I suppose if you've budgeted $1,000 and you start now, right, and every week, kind of going back to your point where you said you just went out and bought your first holiday gift, right? That's actually a pretty good strategy. I like that.
Well, I think part of that too is making sure that you don't wait till December when you're suddenly cramming in everything, and that hurts. That crunch hurts versus spreading it out lightly over and being able to sprinkle in some deals and stuff along the way to make sure that you're able to do it. Again, the holiday season, Thanksgiving are big for people, big for family time. But it's important to have this dialogue with family and friends about like what to expect this year instead of doing something big. I know every year we do a family dinner together and we plan and budget out how much we're going to spend and make sure that it's always something different, unique. So we've done like Thai one year and Mexican food another year, so not just the traditional gobble. So
I should be having Christmas with you guys.
it is quite fun. So
I know, because my family, my brother's definitely Mr. Traditional. My sister, she's not. She is and she isn't. And I'm like, I order barbecue, So I'm okay with that, right? But I think it actually irritates my brother a lot, right? And it's just like, hey, do something different.
maybe this year
Right?
smoked meats. Everything is smoked meats.
Well, that's what, so the barbecue place, that's what we get, right? Smoked brisket, smoked sausages, smoked chicken. Like, I'm kind of hungry.
We're hungry now.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry. All righty, mindset shift for Q4, right? So one of the things is, transitioning from vacation mode to growth mode. So set a financial goal over the next 90 days. So that could be, I want to save $1,000 in the next 90 days, right? Or I want to pay down X amount on my credit card that I've been carrying over the next 90 days, right? Any other potential goals that you can come up with?
I think both of those, that's a great way to start, is really sitting down with your family. This is something that seems to be coming up more and more often, is more family sharing and more talking about family goals, not just individual goals, and making sure that the family is able to attain that and that everybody's on the same page. Because then it stops people from, and I think I was thinking about this earlier, but never said it, but we're in such a, like instant gratification mode always, right? So this is also a great opportunity that when you see something, instead of buying it and giving it to, especially our kids right away, that we're saving these things up until the holiday season, and then they're getting the gifts that they wanted, that they truly needed between now and then. So it's really important that people sit down with their family members and have these conversations. Because if you don't, then what kind of habits, what kind of behaviors are we setting up for the next generation too, if we're not able to have open dialogue with our kids about where we're at with money, what our goals are as a family, things like that. So yeah, fair enough. And like you said here about sharing with family, share your goal with a friend or join a financial community for support. So whatever that goal is, share it with someone. Have some accountability is the bottom line. So if you don't have a wealth advisor like you and I, and you just want to share that accountability, find someone who you trust, who will keep you in check as well. All right. But failing all that, work with a wealth advisor, right? Either Ryan or myself, right? We'd be more than happy to help. We have Eric out in Alberta now. So for our Alberta clients, we have an option for you there. And Denis, our portfolio manager in-house, right? He can help you as well. So if you're looking for help, we have lots of people who can help across the country.
right?
And the rest of the group that's here too, right? So
Yeah, well, the legal, right? The mortgages, the accounting, all of that. We have it all in house under our new roof, right? At 250 Yonge Street, 2702, right? Toronto, Ontario. So, how do you feel about this session?
it feels nice to be in the room with you,
Yeah.
and it's really weird at the same time. And
It is.
it's funny to watch airplanes go in one ear and out the other ear from my angle to yours.
I can't wait to watch the replay. Yeah, those must be the Porter planes, I'm guessing, right? And I think Porter is actually their head office is like one floor above us. Yeah, so we've got Porter here. We've got Team Canada. I think Bank of Montreal is also takes up a lot of the floors here as well. So
To go playing Nicky Nicky Nine Doors on them.
yeah,
So,
yeah, we should. So yeah, for anyone who wants to come out and visit us, you know where we are. Again, we'll send out the official announcement. I quite enjoyed doing it this way. I don't know what the sound quality is going to be like, but the conversation felt more natural because we're sitting in the room together, right?
instead of looking at the screen, I get to look at you.
Yeah, so I like that part. But again, we're going to try to improve the production as well as we go along. And finally, we are going to be moving to recording every other week. There might be some weeks where there might be one because there might be some kind of event that took place or something out in the markets or whatever else. But we're going to be trying to do this every 2 weeks. So if you're a listener, if you're a viewer, you have some ideas or some topics you'd like us to address, reach out to us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ryan, aside from coming to the Eaton Center and visiting us, what other ways can they find our podcast and our YouTube episodes?
You just said it. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. You can go onto our website, tvhfinancial.ca or tvhgroup.ca
Yeah,
to find some information. Of course, you can call us and
you could.
you know,
647-727-4668. And finally, we also have a blog post online at TVH Financial and TVH Group. So, Ryan, I guess until next time, have yourself a wonderful evening. And yeah, looking forward to the next